Hello guys, this is Alex Koloskov, and this is mini review of Canon 5D Mark III for Photigy.com for my new web project. I got this camera from borrowlens.com. Thank you Jim Goldstein for that free loaner. It was very cool to have it on G+ Photographers Conference, which we attended at San Francisco last week. And I brought the camera to our Atlanta studio, thinking that I'm going to test it and compare as I usually do, in studio environment, just to see the, like pixel piper stuff. But when I got it here, I just realized that in studio there is almost no difference between Mark III and Mark II 5Ds. Because you see, same megapixels, and everything which was enhanced and added to Mark III is not for product photography, jewelry and that kind of stuff I shoot in studio. Great ISO performance. I was shooting using ISO 2000, 3000 in San Francisco, and it was very low noise, so it's amazing. But in studio I always shoot ISO 100. And at ISO 100 is the same noise levels and image quality with older Mark II. Same with focusing. This camera got 69 focusing points. Comparing to Mark II, which has only 9 focusing points and very bad performance, actually, focusing performance even on those points. It's a great improvement. Basically, it got this 5D Mark III is a blend of previous 5D and 7D, and many features it got from 1DX and like focusing system, for example, which is, well, it's great. It's a great blend for outdoor or sport photographer. But for studio photographer, really, there is not much improvement. Because focus, I use manual focus. For all my product shots, it's always manual focus. And manual shooting mode. I shoot with strobes, I know my aperture, I know what shutter speed, which is X-Sync. So, I kind of decided not to do that studio test because it won't be different. Instead, I did several shots outside, like I did in San Francisco and here, and man, this is a great camera for outdoor photographer, especially if you like HDR stuff, HDR type of photography, meaning high dynamic range, multiple exposures, not talking about post-processing of like single RAW file and creating HDR effect. No, it's not HDR. Let's talk about real HDR with multiple exposures and made to bring more dynamic range to the image. Previous Mark II had only 2 f-stop difference on auto bracketing, and you can do only 3 shots, meaning I can do -2, 0, +2 in auto bracketing, and in many cases it wasn't enough dynamic range to capture the whole thing, and I was doing kind of manual 6 exposure bracketing, meaning I was starting from -2 exposure compensation, -2 f-stop, was shooting 3 bracketed exposure in continuous mode, and then immediately without moving camera I was dialing +2 exposure compensation and adding 3 more shots. And I ended up having -4, -2, 0, 0, +2, +4. 5 exposures from -4 to +4, which was enough for most of the situation, but well, it was not convenient at all, right? Especially when I shoot like with fisheye. I love to shoot handheld. For me, it's just fun to capture some interesting architecture or something when we're just walking around, and I'm not carrying tripod many times because software is great. Software like Photomatix has great stitching together even handheld shots. So with handheld, having this 3+3 exposure is kind of tricky. With 5D Mark III, it's just amazing. This guy has up to 7 after bracketed shots, and it can go from -8 to +8 f-stop. And this is superior auto bracketing settings. Up to 7 exposures. You can go from 3 to 7, 3, 5 or 7. And you see, you can dial, it's almost like you can dial -9, 6, from -9 to +9 of the compensation, which is more than enough for any situation, really. I was shooting against direct sun, having very dark shadow areas, and it was just amazing. It's shooting at 6 frames per second, meaning almost in a second, a little bit more than a second. I'm getting all my 7 shots in a row without any interruption, right? It works like this, changing to high-speed continuous mode, right? And actually this is fisheye, which I like to use. 8, 15 fisheye. That's where actually I need almost always shoot HDR, because with fisheye we're getting so many things in a frame that it won't be able to fit in one shot. Dynamic range won't be fitting in one shot. So I do it this way. I go and set auto bracketing. Like I said, from -8 to +8 is probably overkill. We can always start like -6 to +6, 7 shots, and just 7 shots. Perfect HDR. Camera is not really shaking. If you're in good physical shape, it's easy to just hold still, and especially when I use that angle finder. So it's pretty amazing tool for outdoor photographer, because HDR, it's not always to get that kind of weird HDR effect. I was using HDR to shoot commercial assignments, architecture, interior, exterior. It just, there is no way you can do it in one exposure. For example, when you shoot an interior window, outside, bright sky, and interior, it's just not gonna fit. I was always shooting in HDR mode, in multiple exposures. So it's great. Plus focusing, that 61 focusing points, it's just amazing. This camera has built-in HDR mode. Basically, it got 3 shots. You can select auto, or you can select step between of each exposure, the exposure compensations, the step. And I kind of played with it, and I wasn't satisfied with the result. It doesn't look good, and we can do much better doing this stuff on the computer using Photoshop, Photomatix, or maybe other software to stitch multiple exposures. Which, well, the good thing, you have it, and camera can save raw files from the sequence and produce JPEG. If you don't like JPEG, you can always grab those raw files and process them later on the computer, and get better result. But if you need to save time, maybe that JPEG will work. The JPEG from camera. Menu system. It's kind of, well, it's much, I would say it's more menus than on previous 5D Mark II. But, well, there is nothing really special there. They organized it more like horizontally, without vertical scrolling as it used to be, which, well, basically it's a matter of personal preference, and I have no problem dealing with this. What else? Controls and everything looks pretty great. Again, not a big difference from Mark II. What it has, two slots for cards, one SD and one compact flash, which is great. This kind of feature which I had with Canon 1DS in past, and it's just great. What else? Superior video performance. I didn't shoot much video using those DSLRs, but if you do, you will love this camera because, well, it's great noise reduction on high level ISOs, and well, it's always good, right, for video. Full HD video and other features, which again, you can look at dpreview.com or any other website, and I'm going to cover everything here. It's just my personal opinion about this camera, and the conclusion is great camera, but for me as a studio photographer, it's not enough improvements to switch from previous Mark II to this Mark III. In studio, it's basically the same cameras. I would prefer Nikon 800, especially without anti-aliasing filter. Again, I'll be reviewing it soon. Maybe it's not as good as those 36 megapixels suggests. We'll see the quality. I'm still waiting for loaner from B&H, the Nikon 800E, and hopefully soon I get it, and we'll see much deeper in studio review at photigy.com. That's where I post all my behind the scene and reviews and everything. Okay, I hope it was interesting. See you soon. Every Wednesday we are online at Studio Photography Insights on Google+. So you can just visit photigy.com, and at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right on homepage will be live video. It will appear only when we broadcast online. Alrighty, goodbye.